So this is a continuation of my prior video in regards to the NSA ties and the Franzfi family and the interconnected world between intelligence agencies, defense agencies, and this family. So leadership, succession, and family ties. Erika Franzfi. A classic soft power tactic is the transition of leadership from a charismatic founder to a vetted successor with deep ties to other power structures. The transition. Following the assassination of Charlie Kirk in September of 2025, Erika Franzfi, Kirk's widow and daughter of defense contractor Lori Franzfi, was unanimously appointed as CEO and chairwoman of TPUSA. Parallel, this mirrors the dynastic capture seen in intelligence front operations where a trusted spouse or relative who already has high-level security or industry connections like Erika's family and her Miss Arizona background is used to maintain the organization's continuity while subtly aligning it with new objectives. Operational and financial control. Tyler Boyer, for an infiltration to be successful, it requires control over the pipes of the organization, its money, and its data. Financial red flags. TPUSA COO Tyler Boyer has faced allegations from whistleblowers like Candace Owens regarding embezzlement and the use of shell companies, specifically 110 LLC. Don't forget, he also sits on the board of Superfeed, which is Lori Franzfi's company, which does data mining. So the shell company model 110 LLC, owned by Arizona State Senator Jake Hoffman, allegedly received over $1.4 million from TPUSA despite having no visible office or employees. This structure reflects the CIA's use of dummy foundations to move funds into political movements without donor transparency. You don't say. So back-end oversight. Boyer's long tenure and control over grassroots political operations provide the operational backdoor necessary to shift the organization's political weight toward specific establishment candidates, such as the early endorsement of J.D. Vance for 2028, Palantir's favorite golden child. So messaging and narrative management. Blake Neff and Andrew Colvett. Control over the organization's voice ensures that it remains useful to the infiltrating interest. The producer role. Blake Neff, formerly Tucker Carlson's top writer, joined TPUSA as a producer after a racism-linked resignation. In his producer role, he controls the content and guests of the movement's largest media outlet. Public relations. Andrew Colvett, as the organization's primary spokesperson, manages the external perception of these internal shifts, often acting as a shield against allegations of insider grift. Infiltration tactic. This mirrors Operation Mockingbird, where intelligence-vetted writers and PR specialists were embedded within media organizations to ensure the correct narrative reached the public. The synthesis, institutional capture. The combined presence of these figures creates a hypothetical trap for the movement. The Franzfi-Kirk link provides the public-facing legitimacy and soft influence through faith and pageantry. Boyer manages the financial infrastructure and links to the Arizona political machine, and Neff and Colvett control the informational flow, deciding which outsider voices like Candace Owens are marginalized or expelled. This also has to do with Superfeed and data mining and having that overflow and oversight as well. This structure effectively shifts TPUSA from a disruptive grassroots group into a vetted arm of the broader defense and political establishment, using the same techniques once deployed by the CIA to co-opt the National Student Association in the 1960s. Parallels in pageantry and influence. Erika Franzfi. Following the historical pattern of soft influence, Lori's daughter, Erika Franzfi, won Miss USA in 2012. Critics and online theorists often draw parallels between this high-profile pageant success and the Miss NSA or Miss KGB models of creating a charismatic public persona for individuals with deep ties to the defense industrial base and the intelligence base. Legacy of pageantry. Erika has stated that her interest in pageantry was a value instilled by Lori, who focused on using the platform for a greater impact and service. So parallels in research and design, R&D. While Lori Franzfi's work is in the private sector, her companies fulfill roles that mirror the NSA's internal R&D and cybersecurity departments. Lori Franzfi, she is the founder and CEO of companies like AZ Tech International and E3 Tech Group, which specialize in network security and high-level risk management. Government contracting. Her firms like IMET Labs has been listed in the private sector intelligence networking directories, such as the Intelligence and National Security Alliance, INSA, which connects government agencies like the NSA with industry partners. She has defense infrastructure patents. So Lori holds patents for criticality spatial analysis that were developed with the support of the U.S. Department of Homeland Security to assess vulnerabilities in sensitive national infrastructure. Ken Fronsvy, Erica's father, has been identified as a program research director at AZ Tech and a former program manager for Raytheon. Apparently, in these roles, he contributed to research projects involving the U.S. government missile defense systems and advanced military collaborations. Mass data collection, the entire base in one swoop. Intellimet's technology is designed to evaluate thousands of suppliers simultaneously, translating reams of data into actionable business intelligence. This reflects the methodology of PRISM, which, if you haven't go to my last video, I talked about PRISM. This reflects the methodology of PRISM, which aggregates massive amounts of internet traffic from private companies like Google and Facebook to identify targets. Private-public data sharing. The text mentions major corporations like United Technologies and 3M using this virtual assessment to look deep into their suppliers' operations. This creates a centralized node of information. And the text they're talking about is the purchasing book that I'll put up a copy of it so you can check it out yourself, the purchasing machine. This creates a centralized node of information. Historically, Project Shamrock functioned by having major telecommunication companies like Western Union voluntarily turn over essentially all international telegrams to the NSA for decades. Virtual presence and downstream monitoring. The virtual assessment allows a customer to monitor a supplier's internal workings without being physically present. Modern NSA programs utilize downstream collection to pull data directly from servers and upstream collection to intercept data as it travels over the internet backbone. Risk prioritizations. Just as the software helps companies root out risks and prioritize which suppliers to visit, surveillance programs like Boundless Informant were designed to map and summarize global data collection to help analysts prioritize where to focus their investigative resources. In short, the Intellimet tool is a corporate version of Signals Intelligence, SIGINT. SIGINT. Instead of monitoring enemies of the state, it monitors non-conformance and risk across a global industrial supply chain. There you go. And I'd just like to add, allegedly, this is a third generation of intelligence family. It started with Captain Carl Kenneth Fronsvy. You can see him here with 9,000 cadets, the Chicago's ROTC Cadet Corps staff selected to head the 9,000 odd cadets in the city's 27 ROTC schools, evolved from the 2.5-hour examination recently given by the local ROTC supervisors. The ranking of the staff is as followed. And there's Carl Fronsvy's name of Tilden. And he then was the vice president of manufacturing in the American Banknote, which I discovered in a newspaper article began in 1940. And I found it in some odd 1973 newspaper where it says that he began his career at the American Banknote in 1940 as the director of manufacturing at the American Banknote.